All right, recording. So welcome to the Contour community meeting. Today is October 19th. Hello to everyone. Anything on top of mind for you guys? Anything you want to discuss? Issues or talk about the release coming up?
We've got a couple of things on the agenda. Do you want to pull it up, Alex, or I can have it up if you want me to?
Yeah, can you share your screen?
Yeah, sure. There we go. Yeah, I put a couple of things on here, so I guess I can cover them quickly and anyone else can feel free to jump in. So first item is that we did release Contour 1.19 at the end of last week. So that is out. Got the changelog here. Before jumping into the changelog, I did want to note that there's a P0 bug that we found for anyone who's using the root namespaces flag. Contour will basically crash on startup. And so we do have a fix for this in place, and we'll be releasing a v1.19.1 shortly. But if you're not using this flag, that shouldn't affect you. Jumping into the changelog, we had a number of different changes here. I'll skip around and hit a couple of them, but if anyone wants to talk about specific items, feel free. We are now pushing our container images to the GitHub container registry, and all of our example YAMLs have been modified to pull from that registry. So that will be the default going forward. We are still pushing images to Docker Hub in parallel, but they're no longer the default in our example YAML, and we'll stop pushing those at some point. So worthwhile to make sure that you've switched over to using the GHCR image that's listed here. Another big change that we have going is the Contour configuration CRD. So I know we've talked about this in a bunch of previous meetings, but we're looking at migrating from the current config map config file that Contour uses for setting kind of server level options to a proper custom resource definition for defining those things. And so this release includes the first alpha of that CRD. It's completely opt-in at this point. So if you don't want to use it at this point, that's fine. You can continue to use the config map, but it is enabled. And so if you define one of these and specify it in the command line flag, Contour will load all configuration from that. So we'll be continuing to iterate on that, make sure that we have the CRD definition correct, and look to move that to GA over the next couple of releases. Let's see, Sanjay, did you want to talk about your cookie rewriting change?
Yeah, so a feature that people have asked for in the past was the ability to customize some of the attributes on cookies that like you may be able to do in proxies like Nginx or even HA proxy. You do some manipulations of cookies that servers may be sending back. So particularly people want to be able to set like security attributes, and for Contour's and Envoy's kind of built-in generated cookies that are generated when you're using the Contour session affinity feature. People have been wanting to customize some pieces of that. So to support that, we added an ability to kind of generically give you the ability to rewrite attributes of cookies. You can rewrite path, domain, secure, and same site attributes, set cookie headers. We didn't allow you to like do anything to like absolutely everything to a cookie because we kind of wanted to limit it to things that you may not know as an application, and rather the way that the application is deployed would kind of influence how you might have to set these things. So that's kind of bridging the gap between details that an application itself would know and like the person deploying the app would know when they're writing out your HTTP proxy and exposing the app, but details that they would know about the environment or how the app is deployed. So yeah, it's implemented currently with some custom Lua scripts that we configure Envoy with, in the future, hopefully we might be able to get this feature upstreamed in Envoy so we can make our configuration of Envoy a little bit simpler, not have to use as much Lua. But yeah, please try it out if you need it and give us any feedback.
Cool. Yeah, so yeah, feel free to hit up the release notes to see the rest of the changes that are included here. And I'll just call out again, there is this P0 bug for folks who are using the root namespace as flag. So keep an eye out for a 1.19.1 to come out shortly. And then the next item I wanted to call out, just wanted to mention that the V1 Alpha 2 of Gateway API has been officially released. It was released last week. And we've been tracking that for some time as the various release candidates have been published. And so our main branch now has been upgraded to use V1 Alpha 2. So we've in main, we've dropped support for V1 Alpha 1 and moved exclusively to V1 Alpha 2. So with the next Contour release, the 1.20 release, we will officially move to supporting only V1 Alpha 2 Gateway API. And there'll be plenty in the changelog about that. And then I also have a link here to the backlog for Gateway API. So if you are interested in this, there's still many items that we need to tackle to round out the functionality and make sure we're setting status correctly on all the various resources. So this is the kind of the backlog that we're tracking against. Some of these items are already slated for 1.20 and some of them remain to be scheduled. But if you're interested in helping out or just seeing what the state of Contour's Gateway API support is, this is a good place to look. But yeah, that covers that one. And then someone want to take the next one?
Yeah, so if you pull up that PR link there, I think this is Steve's PR to change one of the fields in the HTTP proxy spec. HTTP proxy has the concept of a retry policy. So you can set the kind of retries, how many retries and what to retry on. It has a field that is a plain integer for the number of retries, which as you imagine, when it's not supplied, it gets defaulted to 0, where when actually Contour would actually like to make the default 1 when it's not supplied for that value. So there's this is a solution that we have to it, which is change the field to a pointer. However, that does end up, it's incompatible, backwards incompatible with the Go types that are here. It is not actually backwards incompatible in YAML, but it would cause your code to not compile if you're importing a Contour module and these API packages and using this field. So I think we think the most prudent thing to do is to come up with another solution potentially, or go through the full API versioning song and dance. But we just wanted to check the temperature and see if there's anyone in the community who is using this field, is not using this field, what the impact would be if we were to kind of do the easy thing and change it to a pointer. We're just mainly asking the question just because this is the easier solution rather than, and for just this very simple field. It's not changing a whole bunch of structs and everything to pointers, it's just one field. So yeah, please let us know. We can maybe send out some more communications about this to see how big of an impact it would be. And please talk to us on Slack or GitHub and on this issue if you have any concerns or anything else.
So what is our approach if there's no feedback? Like, what are we going to do? What's our thinking right now?
I don't know. Could we do something with the queue builder annotations too, as well there? I don't know. That could be kind of even worse as a breaking change. That would change the CRD's like requirement. Like, I don't know. I think we have to think about it a little bit more. what our approach is, if depending on what people say. I think we gotta come back with a little bit of with a solution in a bit. I don't know, Steve K, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just generally, I think we probably want to brainstorm a few different options and just take a look at all of them. I mean, there's this one, which is the easy one, but is technically breaking for users. Yeah, maybe we could kind of mess around with the defaults and change the default behavior such that if you do specify a 0, you actually get a 0. But yeah, I think until we kind of write down a few different options and look at them and see if we can get input from anyone, we don't necessarily have a leading candidate right now.
Sounds good. We'll probably send out an email to the Contour users list, with our thinking. We'll wait a bit, see if there's any feedback, and then we'll figure out, when to roll this out in a release.
So I had one item I wanted to add to the agenda. That's okay.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
first is just a big shout out to everybody in the Contour team and the Contour community. I mean, I think our representation was fantastic last week at KubeCon, and not only direct representation, but sideways representation from other projects, other teams. I mean, Contour had plenty of name recognition, and I was very impressed. I wanted to call out a particular talk that came out of EnvoyCon, if you're not aware of it. It was at the 4 p.m. Pacific time slot. This was, I'm going to try to get his name right, Aditya Pirapa from Tetrate. He's a high school senior, and John Howard out of Google presented on the subject of XDS. And so basically, right now, we as Contour community are aware that we are behind the ball. I mean, we have not caught up with the opportunity that Delta XDS has given us, and nor has Istio. And so they were speaking to the subject of Istio and trying to migrate from state of the world to Delta representation. It was a fascinating talk. I would encourage anybody to go and catch that one. And then there were several others where Confluence and Istio's mutual interests intersected either at EnvoyCon or at KubeCon itself, and would encourage everyone as they start getting the talks up online for review to try to catch some of that content, because it was very good. And that was what I had to add.
Thanks, Bill. Maybe you can add the link in here to the talk.
I added in the discussion topic section to the schedule. Oh,
Thanks, okay.
that's just the front
I see it.
page. Never mind.
Yeah.
I can
That
add a
was the
link
key.
to the.
That was the key talk for sure, right there. Oh yeah, no.
That's the generic link, unfortunately. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go.
So it will be good. It really will be good to see us and the Istio community all manage to. But I do have to say, the young man, at 17, 18 years old, did a very stand-up job as a first-time presenter. It was rather impressive. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks for sharing. I'll definitely take a look as well.
That's all we have in the agenda. Should we wrap up for today?
I think that sounds good. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for attending KubeCon last week. So if you didn't, you weren't able to catch it, the talks will be uploaded to YouTube, or maybe they already are. But we went over the state of Contour today, talked about the roadmap, talked about all the progress we're making with Gateway API and, our strategy with Gateway API and how important it is to us. And yeah, please take a look if you missed it, and always look forward to your questions and reaching out to us on Slack and third mailing list. So thank you, everyone. All right, if there's nothing else, I think we can end here. Thanks for coming. Thanks, Sanjay, and thanks, Steve.
Bye, everyone.